It all started innocently enough, with a child's imaginary friend. But what happens when that friend isn't so imaginary? I'm about to take you on a journey through the unsettling events that unfolded in their very own home. Good evening, Reddit. Something is happening in our new house. We moved here to start a fresh life, for our little family. It's a quiet neighborhood, but lately it feels like we're living in a horror movie. I never believed in spooky stuff, but what my kid's going through is making me question everything. We bought this old house a couple of months ago. It's got that creaky floor charm and everything. We were so happy to finally have a place for our toddler to grow up in. The first few weeks were normal, but then my son started talking about his imaginary friend, Mr. Grinner. At first, I thought it was cute, kids and their wild imaginations. Mr. Grinner, he'd say, was just like a tall man with a twisted grin on his face. Kinda weird, but kids come up with strange things. We laughed it off, no big deal. But then, things got weird. Like middle of the night weird. I'd wake up to my son giggling in his room. When I asked who he was talking to, he'd say it was Mr. Grinner. Just an imaginary friend, right? Wrong. The giggles turned into whispers, and the whispers into something sinister. One night, I woke up to my son standing at the foot of our bed, staring at us with those innocent eyes. He said, "Mr. Grinner says you're not really my parents." My heart sank. I brushed it off, blamed it on an overactive imagination, but things spiraled from there. Objects started moving on their own. Cupboards would open, and my husband's things would be scattered across the floor. I thought maybe it was a break-in, but nothing ever went missing. It was like Mr. Grinner was playing with us. Then came the drawings. My son started drawing these disturbing images of a tall figure with a twisted grin, tormenting our family. I tried asking him about it, but he'd just giggle and say, "Mr. Grinner told me to draw it." The breaking point was when my husband found scratch marks on our son's bedroom door. Deep, unnatural scratches that couldn't be explained. We even set up cameras, thinking maybe it was some kind of elaborate prank, but the footage only showed my son, alone in his room, talking to thin air. We're scared. Every night we hear footsteps, whispers, and sometimes that eerie giggle echoing through the house. We're at our wits' end. We thought moving into this new house would bring us happiness, but instead, it feels like we've invited something malevolent into our lives. I'm not sure what to do. We did some research, as a friend suggested. He mentioned getting a priest or a paranormal expert involved, but we're not really religious, and honestly, it all feels a bit too surreal to be calling in the experts. We just want our normal life back. Last night was the breaking point. I woke up to the sound of my son crying, not the usual toddler cries, but the kind that sends shivers down your spine. Rushing into his room, I found him huddled in the corner, trembling and pointing at the closet. "Mr. Grinner's angry," he whimpered. I mustered up the courage to open the closet door, half expecting to find some hidden intruder. But the closet was empty, just clothes and toys. That's when I noticed something chilling. The temperature in the room had dropped and I could see my breath. Out of nowhere, the lights flickered and the room felt heavy, like the air was thick with some unseen presence. My husband, still half asleep, asked what was happening, but I had no answers. I could only stare at the closet, wondering if we were losing our minds. And then it happened. The closet door slammed shut, and my son screamed. I tried to open it, but it was like something was holding it shut. We were trapped in that freezing room, with my son crying, and that omnipresent giggle echoing around us. I don't know how long we were in there, but when the door finally opened, the atmosphere changed. The temperature rose back to normal, and the room felt lighter. My son stopped crying, but he looked at us with wide eyes, whispering, "Mr. Grinner is gone." We're terrified. We've decided to stay with friends for a while, hoping that whatever this is won't follow us. I don't know if we'll ever go back to that house. It's not the home we thought it was. We're considering selling, but who would want to buy a house with such a sinister history? I don't have all the answers, and I don't know what's really going on, but I wanted to share this. Maybe someone out there has been through something similar and can offer advice. We just want our lives back. Thanks for listening, Reddit.